Hello and welcome to the energy update here on the Astroflower. We will be going outside and getting the chakra sequencing, the messages from the earth, and also dowsing the energy lines and seeing what's going on with the energy on a very physical level. That will be time stamped in the description if you want to go straight to that. In the meantime, let's just get on and see what's been going on with the larger picture of the prana that's been coming through the system at the moment. So let me just bring up here for you. We have the sun over the past week. This is going from the 14th through to the 21st. And one thing that went through here, and we'll be going into a little bit later on, was that sort of corona hole. But you can also see these sunspots. There's one that's been flashing off over there, and there's quite a big flash, which we will be going into later on this channel and seeing what the energies that are coming out of that. As I said, there was this coronal hole that went through earlier on, and we can see it much better in this sort of situation. And that's that earth energy that we've been experiencing this week. And I think we're going to be experiencing it right up to Saturday, coming through the earth. And I think from Saturday, that's when we're going to get a change of energy. We talked about it last week of being earth and fire. And this week here, it's all changed. It's going into air and water. We're going to be going into that and explaining how that's sort of like coming about. But first of all, let's just go back and see how that coronal hole has been affecting the earthquakes and the earth energies. And it's so blatant this week that's been going through. So here we have this coronal hole that came through here. It's a very, very long thing. It was stretching at one point as a quarter of the surface of the sun, or the distance of the circumference of the sun, as it were. And above here, we can see the earthquakes during this week. This was taken from the 16th in particular. It's pretty much where that corona hole is there. And look at that. You can see all these sort of like earthquakes that string all the way back across the Alaskan ridge. And normally we get a build up here, build up of energy here. And we've been getting that, and it's been releasing that. And we'll see that in the earthquake rhythms after that. But let's just bring up a combination photo of the earthquakes and that corona hole. And just look at it. Look at how perfect that is, really. How it all sort of sits in there within the coronal hole. And this is, coronal holes are a real good generator of earthquakes. And we've been seeing that a lot in the earthquakes this week here. And that's about that earth energy that we were talking about last week. And we did it in the weekly readings as well. This weekly readings here will be coming out, of course, on Thursday and Friday. And we were talking about sort of like getting things done, getting things into position, or sorting out the nuts and bolts before we apply the passion into life. And that's what seems to be happening this week here as well. Let's just go into the earthquakes of what's been happening this week here, and we can see this pulsating of energy that comes across the globe. There's a build up, as I say, here in this section here. You'll see it just starts building up. There it is, the build up, and then the release comes as it comes across, and it throws it out across the solar plexus and the third eye and the throat chakra. And so, yeah, I think that's what's been playing out this week here. It's been pushing those sort of energies that have been there and in the solar plexus. It's like getting things, the nuts and bolts done. And I think the Earth's energy has really been helping us to do that. But this week here, we've had some different types of energies. And we had this eruption that came off earlier on a couple of days ago. And this eruption here, you can see it on the Iswar, is due to hit the Earth around about the 24th, 25th, around that sort of period there. I think it's slow moving. That's what Iswar has been predicting for the time being. I've noticed just now that they've actually changed that prediction, and there is a reason for that. On the Enral spiral, you can see on the Enral spiral, it does say it's coming straight towards the Earth, as it were, but there is a great deal that's going off behind there, and that does leave that void in the energies after it goes through. And I think that's pushing that air energy. But what did it come from? Did it come from a solar flare? Well, it did to an extent, but it wasn't like a solar flare that we sort of know. What I want you to do is pay attention to this section here. Let me just move that out of the way. Pay attention to this section here. You can see this gentle filament that's coming through here in this section here. And it seems to be erupting underneath it. It's as if like the sun is getting the emotions out there with a little bit of fire. There's the eruption there. And it pushes down through that sort of filament there. So I think it's more sort of filament energy. But that most of that plasma that you can see there is being drawn back into the sun. So the eruption wasn't massive, as it were. So there wasn't a lot of power behind it in a way, although it was quite a high, heavy M flare. The actual most of the ejectum we can see here on the Lascaux is coming out to the south. It's not a halo effect. So you can see it just here. You can see. I'll tell you what. Let me get this puppy out of the way, so you can see a lot easier. Down the bottom there, this section down here. This is where it came off here, and so here it is coming through here. There it is there, just popping out there, and it does sort of get followed up by another eruption just next to it as well, and that's the sort of double feedback. But I do believe it's heading more south, rather than coming directly into us, more than anything else. And it is that sort of water energy combined with the air, because it's not hitting the earth and it's creating a bypass in a way, I think, more than anything else. I don't think it's going to hit us that much. And that's going to create that friction in the air, that static electricity. Couple that with the energy that's coming off the sun at the moment with all of those sunspots. That's also, and they're not erupting, so that's a lot of white noise. That's a lot of static electricity. It's going to be tricky mental week, I think, this week here. And this is where the truths are going to be coming to the surface. So I'm sure we're going to be seeing that when we go into the ley lines and the messages from the earth and so forth. So here we have the Astroflower. The complete sign. So we got Capricorn at the top, we got Cancer at the side, Cancer at the base here, Aries are to the right, Libra to the left, then we got Scorpio, Sagittarius, obviously, Aquarius, Pisces, and then Taurus, Gemini, and yes, Virgo and Leo. But mainly we can see all the air and water sections that are all going on around here, which is feeding this sort of base here, which goes really nicely because Aquarius over here is air and water, and on Scorpio you've got water and air. So therefore it's going to be funneling a lot of the energy through that section there. So I think it's going to be really good for Capricorn, Scorpios, Sagittarius and Aquarius signs, which I think is also going to work well for Aries and Leo, Libra and Virgo, Taurus and Pisces as well. Which is going to be a little bit more work for the Cancer and the Gemini, because they are down here. So there's a little bit of pressure taken off you in certain respects, Gemini and Cancer, and allow you to really get things moving on. Let's go on to see what's going on with the chakra sequencing and the messages from the earth out on the ley lines. So yeah, that's what's going on at the sun at the moment. Air and water energies. Now that can be good and that can be bad. That's if you do suffer from anxiety and so forth, I think this could be a week here that you need to pay attention to that. Make sure you've got a lot of meditation going on, grounding yourself. I've been trying to do that with myself today. Grounding yourself so you don't get run away and lose yourself in illusions. Because the water, I was just on the ley line there, and just feeling the general ambient energies. And normally it should be around the heart, but it seems to be playing with me around the throat and the third eye and the heart. And it seems to be pushing upwards. It seems to be an upwardly mobile sort of thing. It seems to be driving ideas that are tied into the nuts and bolts. So you may have a lot of ideas at the moment, sort of saying, it'd be good to do this, then do that, then therefore I can do this, and therefore I can get my heart's desires. you know, and it'd be great to get that idea into reality. And that's what could be playing through you. So it'd be a good time to sort of like, at the moment, until the weekend, to sort of like work through those ideas and put them down, so then you've got a clear vision about where you're going in the future. I think it would help us all enormously. It'd help enormously, this sort of common sense, this year of truths 2025 that I keep talking about. I think that's really going to come to the surface, especially if we, as individuals, start sort of, you know, being the example that we wish to be, that we wish to see. You know, be the light that you wish to follow, you know, and that sort of thing. Follow your own light, as it were. And regardless of what we're doing in life, because the tapestry is so vast and so great, everybody has their place. You just need to go ahead and live it. And what feels right for you, that should be a really good thing to do. And the energy seems to be plowing into this idea of giving us a bit more sort of quality into the visions. It certainly did for me. And it was showing to me, the energies were sort of, I went off on this meditation that was showing to me the sort of elements within the chakras. And that the fact that the elements or the chakras rather, the chakras don't just have one element. It's a bit like the Astroflower. You know, 8 out of the 12 signs are mixed signs. They have 2 elements to them. You know, Capricorn has earth and water, for example. You know, Scorpio has water and air. Aquarius has air and water. Sagittarius has fire and air. So, you know, I think there's a lot going on in that sort of elements, that it's trying to bring a lot of common sense to the table and a lot of understanding of how things actually work. Once we know how it works, it's much easier to then play with your energies in the idea of trying to create the vibrations that you so wish to live and see around you. And that's going to help you in your physical world as well. And then that's going to help the collective. And that's the best way, I think, to transform this world into a world that plays beautifully within the realms of energies, which is a world built upon respect. Respecting one another, respecting trees, respecting everything that sort of goes on in life, I think. I think it's probably the most productive way of being. So I think that's what's pushing through, and the energy seems like it's pushing through there. I've just been talking to the trees as well. There's a beautiful forest that's just behind you. Let me just sort of like, let me just show you what that sort of looks like. There it is, got some mountains in the background. I don't know if you can see. It's an absolutely beautiful place here. Let me just put that back straight. Oh, blimey. So yeah, I've just been talking to the trees, and they don't seem to be concerned about the weather at the moment. And I don't think I am as well. I don't think there's going to be major changes. I've actually been much more interested in what's going on the earth than on the sun, to be honest. Now, simply because of the amount of earthquakes, the volcanoes and so forth, there seems to be a real change, certainly with the energy in the center of the sun. There seems to be a real change that's coming through that we saw last week there. And it's interesting to sort of see what's bubbling up through the surface without the pressure of the sun's energy, without the pressure of the prana energy that comes from the universe, comes through the sun and comes to the earth, and through the earth to you, and through your chakra and your aura system. So it's been quite interesting to see that and see how it's playing as well with the chakras. And it seems like it's getting into a real sort of rhythm. It's almost like a trance the earth is getting into. And I think that all has to do with pole shift more than anything else. So without further ado, I'd like to get on and see what's going on with the chakra sequencing, because there we go. We got the first connection there straight away. Go straight to the crown and the root. It's on a mission. And we've got it coming down into the throat chakra. Really strong in the throat chakra. Got to be careful as well, because it can be a little bit overpowering. And then it's playing down in the solar plexus. Strong, but also overpowering. We need to be wary of that. And it plays on both sides of that as well. Very liver energy. And then it goes down to the sacrum. That sacrum seems to be a lot more like the embers of a fire. It's really warm, and it's very balanced and lovely. And it goes down into the root with a little bit into the crown chakra, but the crown chakra seems to be a little bit agitated, and this could well be that agitation from the throat and the solar plexus that is creating sometimes complications within the thinking and so forth. And then the third eye really does start coming back strong, and that's a little bit agitated as well. And it goes back down to the solar plexus. That's a lot more balanced, with the root backing it up. Coming back up to the third eye and the throat at the same time. This is that lifting aspect about it. Goes down to the sacrum. There's a real beautiful buzz to it now. And there's the heart. There's the heart chakra. It really does blow out beautifully. It's like, yes. It's hang on a second. There we go, to the crown and the root, and then back to the central point. I've been waiting on that heart chakra. I think that's going to be the most powerful thing. And it's like, I get the sensation of where there was complications on the throat and the solar plexus, and then on the crown, it was almost like an archer that's putting his bow under pressure. And that's what it felt like. And then when it released, and that's where it comes from, the sacrum, about living what you should be doing, their fundamental desires in your life. I would like to do this type of activity in my life. Then do it. If that's what you're born here to do, then do it. Go ahead and do it. And it's putting it under pressure, and it's that satisfaction of doing it that gives rise to that yes. And that gives rise to that wave of energy that seems to come through that affects much greater the heart chakra, and the heart chakra, the solar plexus, and the throat chakra. There's another wave coming through now. That's another wave from the sequencing. This is where, once you start feeling this sequencing, it's like a pulsation of energy. So you can focus on that happy thing, so that happy energy. So when it goes to the complicated bits, it smooths out the complications. And then you can deal with those complications with a greater ease, as it were. And then before you know it, and that's, I can feel it already, the next section, the next wave is coming through. It just it lifts you up and pushes you forward in a very, very beautiful way, very beautiful energy. I want to get the message from the earth now. There we go, just connecting to that ley line there, that's going to follow it back into that church there. So there we go, we're back into the church, into the crossing point, and down into the center of the earth. Wow, there's an iridescent, translucent sphere of plasma that it seems so delicate, but so beautiful. And there seems to be like this, it's really good. It's almost like there's like a double torus. And in that double torus is that line which makes like the Milky Way in a way. When you look up in the sky and you can see the Milky Way, we've all seen the disk galaxies. It looks like that's what's inside it. And it's giving birth to, and it could be that galactic wave that's coming through. And when I go towards the sphere, there seems to be people looking in, a little bit like how gods would look into a pool and see what was going on Earth in a way, like in the Greek gods in a way. But I'm not saying they're gods, but you know, it just seems that sort of way inclined. Let's just get over there and see what's going on. And there seems to be like almost like Chinese samurais or Japanese samurais, you know, or if you've ever seen the film Hero or something like that, just seems to be something to do with that. It's almost like the three body problem sometimes you see on that. You see, it looks a little bit like that sort of scenario that's going on. I just want to make sure that everything is in order, because everyone has their place to, you know, their role to play. Yeah, I think there needs to be just applying the balanced energy to the center of that portal there, just so that it can allow things, because it seemed to be overpowering in a way, and it didn't feel that it felt a little bit like the solar plexus and the third eye and all of that. Let's just get back to the sphere, the outer section here. Lovely. Tell you what, it's a lot clearer down there than it's been in a very, very long time. Very, very long. Completely different, really. Let's just see. Let's get a message from the earth here. It's like I can only describe it as like an angel in a way, you know, and very much like a 1940s film angel, sort of like kind of going, there you go. It's sort of like showing us the way, kind of go, welcome. It's sort of saying here, and it's almost as if like the earth is, it's like the opening ceremonies of something. That's what it feels like. It says, welcome to the opening ceremony of a new life. There's not a lot of people there at the moment, and there is a lot of people coming, but it's the opening ceremony of this portal by the looks of things. Absolutely beautiful. Is there a message? All I'm getting is you know. You know. Let me just get back to my portal, because I want to get on my vortex, get back up through the vortex, up for the energy line, and get back into my body, because I need to talk about that. You know, when you feel it inside you, and this is what the common sense is all about, when you feel that it's right within you, you don't have to think about it there. Then you just have to follow that evident path. And I think this is what it's trying to sort of say now, that the energies are open to those who know. And it's not like no better than another person. It's not that at all. It's just where you are in your life, and you know that this is good, or this is what you should be following. Then you should that is part of the opening ceremonies. Just start following it. And once you do, that's when I think energy is going to be really sort of playing into your favor. Wow. It's a good time to be alive. Very good time to be alive. Very good time to be alive. There you go. I will see you on Thursday night for the earth and fire signs, Friday night for the water and air signs. I'm trying to get these other videos out. There's a lot of preparation in the background that I'm doing in order to make the videos. It takes some time, so you're gonna have to bear with me, but they will be coming out. Yes, I will see you soon. Thanking you very much for all the support you give to this channel. And yes, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.